The Vikings are coming into Rise of Kingdoms, and with them, we are having a new civilizations which I already done a video about. And on top of that, we are having Bjorn Ironside and Ragnar Lodbrok. So I'm gonna go ahead in this video and give you a full detail about Bjorn Ironside, including talents and pairings, and where he will be useful, where he will excel. Is he really a legendary or close to legendary material type of commander? Let's find out in this video. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Rise of Kingdom video. My name is Legend Ronnie and today I'm going to talk about Bjorn Ironside. I want to give you the talents and the pairings before he's going to be released in the game. In about a couple of days, probably a week, he's going to be released in Rise of Kingdoms. But on the official forum from Rise of Kingdoms, the full detail about the commander has been revealed. And it says on the bottom of this picture that the displayed skill description is at the maximum level. So we can definitely have an idea how good this commander is going to be before it's released. A lot of players are thinking, well, 500 nuke or with the expertise 700 nuke is not really something that high, but you need to understand that some commanders have specific utilities. All the recent epic commanders that have been introduced in Rise of Kingdoms, they are of high utilities, and I'm gonna just point out a couple of them that are the recent introduced in Rise of Kingdoms. So we got Keira, and there's no words needed to talk about Keira. I mean, I already done videos how good she is in KVK 1, 2, and 3. I even rallied flags in KVK 2 and had positive traits with Keira and YSG. So how about that? Then you have Matilda, which everyone thinks, oh wow, she's a gatherer. Why is there so much hype about her, or why is people talking so much about her? Because of the siege unit defense and health. If you don't have commanders in Sunset Canyon, she does amazing. Or if you want to build a trap like in front of a pass, you just want to gather and you want to put her with siege, you can definitely do that. And you're gonna be surprised, all these farm killers, how hard time will have knocking down Matilda and you gaining positive traits. Probably even with tier 1, you should definitely try it out. So a lot of utilities for all these new epics that are being introduced. Then you have Diao Chan, which has 400 nuke for 4 seconds. That's 1600 with attack and defense on the troops, and obviously some healing factor. So a lot of utilities and very powerful epic commanders that have been introduced recently. What you need to keep in mind from all this is that all these epic commanders that are being introduced, you can't expect them to be better than legendaries. I mean, it's not rocket science. That's why they are introducing legendaries into Rise of Kingdoms. You cannot expect that for 3-4 years these epic commanders will be something like the best. So what would be the logic of it if they would introduce epic commanders that are better than legendaries? And some are. They have probably much better utilities and they perform much better than some legendaries. But most of the legendaries that are introduced into Rise of Kingdoms, they are way better than epics, probably even if they have less skills. So for example, a 5511 Alex can definitely be better than Bjorn, or obviously a 5551 Saladin can also be better, and there's various other legendaries that even with a small investment they are better than epics. But epics still have utilities in Rise of Kingdoms, especially at the beginning of the game. All the older players obviously are not very happy when they see epic commanders, and they probably need to see like a 2000 nuke factor on an epic commander so they would be happy. But there is, again, a lot of facts that you need to understand regarding this. So going back to Bjorn, and let's talk a little bit about his skill description. His primary skill, that's 500, with expertise is 700, and he still only hits one target, even that you obtain his expertise. If this is going to be a skill description, we're going to find out when it's going to be released into the game. But he's also debuffing, once you obtain his expertise, up to 3 targets in a forward-facing fan-shaped area that will take 15% increased skill damage for 3 seconds. Now we have a lot of commanders into the game that increase damage to the target. We got Alexander, we got Minamoto with his Warlord, we got Mulan, we got Trajan, right? But we don't have commanders with the primary skill that increase skill damage. So this is something very different. And it is for 3 seconds as well, so that's something to keep in mind. It's not just a 2 seconds debuff, which is a very short window. 3 seconds is much better. And it is up to 3 targets. So this is the point that I really like about Bjorn. The one thing that I don't like about many commanders when they add conquering is that they make the conquering skill to only hit cities. It doesn't make any sense. So I hope that probably in the future this will be changed, and when this commander hits stronghold as well, not just cities. And why is that? Because you're probably wondering, it's still an epic, like who would use him? When you're swarming a building. This is a unique debuff that you can put on the building. And all the marches that are swarming the building, for example, Ark of Osiris. This is where I see a lot of utilities for this commander. Ark of Osiris, right, swarming the buildings, you have a unique debuff, or probably going in the middle because you're still debuffing if you're lacking other commanders. And I also see a lot of utilities when you're starting your KVK1, KVK2, and KVK3, because in those type of KVKs, you're very limited at the amount of commanders that you can use. If you see on the top of Harald, it says, this commander can only be used in the Season of Conquest, and there is many other commanders, like Chandragupta, Trajan, William, Artemisia, and there is a lot of them. You do have a list when you get into your KVK2 or KVK3, it shows you which commander you can use. So all the Season of Conquest commanders, you cannot use them there, and this is where Bjorn will definitely excel. In KVK 1, 2, and 3, not everyone has so many legendaries to use on the battlefield. Viking Lord increased the attack and defense of your infantry by 10% each. So that's a very nice skill, that's a very nice boost. And then his 4th skill, Ambush. Normal attacks have a 10% chance to deal damage to the target, damage factor 800. This skill can trigger once every 5 seconds. So if you put this together with his primary skill, you get a 1500 nuke. That's pretty good for an epic. That's exactly what Osman has, for example. 1100 plus 400. But Osman doesn't give you stats to your troops. Osman doesn't give you a debuff. So you're trying to make the connection. All the new epics that are being released, they have a utility. They are much better than what we have in the game right now. Is he going to replace Sun Tzu? I will still say that probably Sun Tzu is slightly above Bjorn, because Sun Tzu hits 5 targets with 800 plus 200, and also gives you additional rage for each additional target that you hit. So he has a very nice range engine. On top of that, he has damage taken reduction, infantry health bonus, and you get 20% skill damage. So Sun Tzu is still a very nice commander, a very nice AoE commander. Sun Tzu is still above all the epic right now. But honestly, the way I see Bjorn right now when he's being released, I would say that he's just probably a nudge under Sun Tzu, because this debuff will be useful even in a Season of Conquest. And you're probably wondering, but how you can use Bjorn in a Season of Conquest? Who are you gonna pair him with? He's gonna be teared apart if anyone sees Bjorn on the battlefield. It's same thing if someone sees Sun Tzu on the battlefield in Season of Conquest. He's gonna be brought down to bits and pieces. So here is my answer, how you can still use Bjorn on the battlefield. You have Trajan. Trajan is a very tanky and versatile commander in Rise of Kingdoms. With his primary skill, you increase the skill damage and give rage to all your marchers, and with Bjorn, you increase the skill damage on the target. So how crazy can that be? Think about it. Up to 3 targets, they take 15% more skill damage, and Trajan gives another 30% skill damage to your marchers. So for example, a lot of players would prefer to go with Aethelflaed as a second. That's also a very viable option, and I will probably take Aethelflaed over Bjorn. But for example, some players can do Saladin and Aethelflaed, and then if you have Trajan, you have Trajan available. And I'll be very honest, I would not pick a Barca over Bjorn, because in the Murder Ball, and what is being used now in the Season of Conquest, is a lot of skill damage. So I would definitely bring Bjorn over Barca in a Murder Ball, because I know that skill damage increase on the targets will benefit me a lot more. And you can put mostly infantry gear on Trajan, or preferably only infantry gear on Trajan, and you bring mostly infantry troops, and you also benefit from the nice debuff to increase another 20% damage on the target, and then you have Bjorn as well debuffing. So that's a lot of buffing and debuffing that you can do with Trajan and Bjorn, and you still have utility for that commander if you don't have enough commanders to bring on the battlefield. In KVK 1, 2, and 3, obviously you have Richard, you have Charles Martel, you have Sun Tzu, so you can definitely make combinations and pairs with them. Or you could even utilize Sun Tzu, for example. You could do Bjorn and Sun Tzu because Bjorn debuffs the targets and then Sun Tzu is gonna nuke them pretty hard. That's also a way how you can use in KVK 1, 2, and 3 these two pairs. Or you could make a use for Eulji. You could do a Bjorn and Eulji. If you just want to bring a lot of infantry marches, you probably switch to the Viking civilization and you just want to bring as many infantry as possible. Now this is an option as well in KVK 1, 2, and 3. So a lot of options if you have Diao Chan as well. But once you get into the season of conquest, epics are done. So this is something that you want to keep in mind. Once you reach the season of conquest, once these commanders it's available into your kingdom, you might want to drop the use of epic commanders unless you're putting them second to a Trajan or second to some very defensive commanders, maybe even a second to a Charles Martel or a second to a Richard. If you just want to bring buffs and debuffs or something very tanky, then definitely you can still bring those marchers like Bjorn Ironside on the battlefield. In the KVK 1, 2, and 3, a very interesting pair could be using Bjorn and Alexander. Bjorn being first because he has the skill tree. As you see over there on the top, you have the skill conquering and infantry, so you can make some very interesting talents. And then you put Alex as a second. Bjorn can debuff the target, and if you're lucky enough, Alex can hit with 1700, and there you have it. Both have instant damage, and this can also be used if your opponents have the field. You go in and out of your city with Bjorn and Alexander, and you can double nuke a target before they even realize, and then you get back in the city. So how good that is. A lot of utilities for this commander, and honestly I'm very happy that all these new epics, they are starting to shine a little bit, starting to bring something into the game where they have a utility. You just need to find it. And speaking about talent, you're probably wondering how I can show you his talents. Well, looking at Guan Yu is infantry conquering a skill, so it's the same talent trees that you can make for your Bjorn Ironside. So going into the talents, this is the current talent tree that I use for my Guan Yu, which you could do the same for Bjorn, but I have this for Sunset Canyon. I need the rage, the feral nature, even though I know it doesn't give me so many benefits, but I really need that.
No, I wanted more, sir.
A talent tree that I would recommend for field fights if you want to go with Bjorn primary, since you have the conquering tree, it's something like this.
Gross.
You don't need the feral nature for field fight. Obviously it helps generate more rage, so for that matter you can definitely go with feral nature. You have the previous talent tree, but this is something that I recommend for field fighting because you have all the juicy stuff from the infantry tree, and then you have all the juicy stuff from the skill tree, and then you get a lot of benefits from the conquering. And as you notice over there, the 3 points is 1.5 defense with another 0.5 defense. That's another 2% defense that you add to your march, exactly what you need. Reduce counterattack damage taken by 9%. This definitely helps you out as well, either when you're hitting your primary target or when you're getting swarmed. This is another way how you can build the talent tree for Bjorn. You have the two options if you prefer the feral nature, or if you want to go a little bit on the conquering. That's entirely up to you. I would also see Bjorn as a very useful commander in the Sunset Canyon. That might sound very crazy, but if you have a skill damage Sunset Canyon team, then Bjorn might be one of those commanders that you want to integrate into your Sunset Canyon team and see how that will work out. That is the reason why people use Alex in there, not because he's doing 1700, because this is just random. It's with a 10% chance. It's too much RNG in that to be very helpful, but it's the debuff. So that's exactly what Bjorn does as well. Bjorn debuffs 3 targets in front of him. So he will definitely have that utility as well. I will test him out and I will try him out when he's going to be released, especially in Sunset Canyon, because I believe that there he might have some utilities, and with the 10% attack and defense and his instant damage, might come something out of Bjorn, but we will find out and do more videos regarding that, if it's gonna be or not. So all in all, my advice is that Bjorn is a really nice and fine commander, and he has the skill tree as well, which is very good. I really like the skill tree, despite people probably liking attack or support or various other skill tree. I really like the skill tree, but that's just me. And then he's obviously infantry and conquering, and we really needed an extra infantry commander, an extra epic infantry commander to the table. It will help out a lot. KVK 1, 2, and 3. I can guarantee you that you will see a lot of Bjorn Ironside on the field. Later on in the season of Conquest, that can be subject to change, or it probably needs a lot of testing. But even in Ark of Osiris, he might have that utility for debuffing purposes. It's just that many teams prefer to bring the legendaries, because some legendaries just have a higher nuking power, and that makes a difference as well, not just the debuffs that you bring. But still, tests worth it to be tried regarding that as well. You will be able to get him from the tavern, as it says over there, and in the expedition is very rarely, in the expedition what are the chances to get commanders. So no reason to go regarding the expedition. The only way you could max him from the expedition is if you have a lot of coins and you wait out until it's going to be his week. When you go into the expedition shop, you have a weekly commander or the featured commander. I'm not sure if that's weekly, because I think tomorrow might be someone else. Who knows? So that's another way how you can max Bjorn. If you have a lot of coins and you probably don't have universal sculptures, especially for the new players or the new beginners. So let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about Bjorn Ironside? Is he really legendary material or close to legendary material? What is your opinion of his utility in Rise of Kingdoms? Until next time, this is your boy Ronnie signing off. Peace out, y'all, and take care. See you on the next one, and stay safe out there, my friends.